The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace cars off, keep your mask.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Take care of yourself.
Three wide!
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble!
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
Oh, hello, race fans. Wrong screen, if I may say. I definitely was a little too late on that, but welcome here to the Nashville Super Speedway nonetheless, where tonight we're getting set for our 13th race on the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series season. It is the Ally 400. This is our inaugural event, our inaugural race here at the Nashville Super Speedway. We did race here last year, but that was with the WRLA McDonald's Cup Series. So a little bit of, obviously things are just a tad bit different, you know, obviously with WRLA taking the helm of things, and it's going to be fun. Obviously, with a little bit of a different race car and a little bit of a different package, it should make for a pretty interesting night here at the Nashville Super Speedway. After our 3-week hiatus, just in case for those that missed it, we were at the Sonoma Raceway, where pretty much we saw a good amount of pit strategy come into play, and by the end of it all, after Noah Clifton led a good portion of the event to start things out, it was Stephen Colon who managed to get out ahead of Noah Clifton, but with a little bit of controversy, if you will, as Colon was making his way back out on the racetrack after making a pit stop. Noah Clifton wound up rear-ending the 25 of Stephen Colon, just barely, and I say barely, to the point where it hurt the rear end. It hurt basically the front end handling of Noah Clifton's car, and it killed his chances of winning a few weeks back at Sonoma, and Stephen Colon was able to drive away to his second win of the season. Colon looking to try to keep this momentum going as he found himself catapulted up to, I want to say, right around the top 10 in the points standings. And as for Noah Clifton, just the dry spell, if you will, does continue here. But he does have himself a pretty good opportunity, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But let's go ahead and review your point situation coming into tonight's race here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Terry Walker holds on to the points lead by he's the first driver as of right now to break into that 300-point bracket. And as we touched on a little bit ago, there's Stephen Colon, 251 points to his name with that win at Sonoma. That put him inside of the top 10. Take a look a little bit deeper in the points standings. There's Caleb Rose, who didn't start off the year the way that he wanted it to, especially for Appalachia Motorsports, him being the owner driver, up to 16th on the standings. Andrew Miller, 18th. Nice title in the 17th position. There's Wyatt Walker in the 19. 21st on this, turned 21st on the standings. And there's Noah Clifton after a heartbreaking day at Sonoma a few weeks back. That sends him back into the 25th spot in the points standings, but he is starting outside pole, so he could have himself a very good opportunity to capitalize on some very good points. Nathan Stapleton, another driver who could catapult on good points. He's 32nd, as you can see. He starts on pole for this race. Claire Phillips, Sebastian Vaughn, Aaron Abel, a lot of those drivers that are towards the bottom end of the point standings. They are going to be starting a little bit further up towards the front of the field. So some of them are starting within the top 10. We're going to review that here in just a little bit, but Nathan Stapleton, another driver that we could talk about here for just a little bit before we review our starting grid. I mean, this season has just been absolutely abysmal for him. Not a lot of good momentum throughout the course of this year, but with this pole here at Nashville, hopefully it is a sign that things are turning around for him and the entirety of NS Racing, unless if you're Zachary Fitzwater, who's been very casually hanging around the top 10, top 5 area in the point standings. So with that said, ladies and gents, let's go ahead and review your starting lineup for the Ally 400 here at the Nashville Super Speedway. The duo of NS Racing cars lined up on the front row. Travis Crampton starting in third. There's Phillips, Vaughn, Giacomo, Abel. They're all starting inside of the top 10. Ajax Fitzgerald looks like he's making his first start in quite some time. I want to say since Las Vegas back in March. Alex Bonsignor, another driver who is in dire need of a great run here today. Starting 11th here in this event, there's Zachary Fitzwater, top 5 in points. Points leader, Terry Walker starting in the 14th position. Should have his work cut out for him. He won here in Nashville last year in the NRLA McDonald's Cup Series, so he could still theoretically go back-to-back if he finds himself in the right spot. There's Russell Blaze after a lot of momentum in qualifying in the last few weeks. Unfortunately, starting in the 29th position. So let's see if that speed is really going to come into play for him, as he might have his work cut out for him. Wyatt Walker starting in the 33rd position. There's Shania Hill in the number 7. We saw Bobby McGuire a little bit ago, who's starting 19th. Caleb Rose, who is 16th in the point standings, while he's starting 40th. And our Michigan winner, Roberto Crown Jr., in 31st. And finally, our provisional starters, that's Campbell Marsh in the number 38 and Jerry Rose in the 00. Well, so much to look forward to here at the Michigan International Speedway. Of course, with the looks of things, I mean, we are racing here at the Nashville Super Speedway for the first time in WRLA history. And as for NS Racing, it is a possibility that we could see them go to victory lane for the first time this year. We have not seen a single NS Racing car win yet here in 2025. So today could very well be the day. The last driver to go to victory lane for NS Racing is the outside pole sitter, Noah Clifton. He is going to be starting in the second position, as I just said a few minutes ago. So it should be a very fun night here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the racetrack, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines have been fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 competitors. And just from the looks of things, everybody is rolling off perfectly fine. So this should be a very interesting night here at the Nashville Super Speedway. 150 laps around this just a little over 1 mile facility. In some cases, this track kind of behaves like of how the the earlier version of Las Vegas would kind of behave, if you will. I mean, I'm not 100% sure where I went with that, but you guys may or may not get the picture. But should make for a very interesting night. It's WRLA's first trip here to the Nashville Super Speedway, and this should be a very fun one. Pace car is set to pull off, and the duo of NS Racing cars of Nathan Stapleton himself and Noah Clifton, they're going to lead the field down to the green flag and get race number 13 started from here at Nashville. A fantastic jump for Nathan Stapleton as he's going to break out with the lead to start things out. Clifton is going to tuck in that second position. Then it's a fight for third as Travis Crampton works his way to the inside of Abby Walker. And Nathan Stapleton is going to lead lap number 1. There's Sebastian Vaughn in the 54. He's going to be rocketing around the outside. And that number 54 machine, there's Zachary Taylor and Claire Phillips. They're fighting it out for position. But it looks to be that outside line just may be the way to go here in the early stages of this race here at Nashville. And that's already what we're starting to see. All those drivers are starting to migrate up to that outside line. And the bottom just may not be the preferred way to go. This Phillips not finding a lot of grip down there, but you also see Bruno Diacomo and also Ajax Fitzgerald. Both of those drivers are starting. They found a little bit of speed up there, as well as the rest of the other drivers. So they're taking full advantage of that. And meanwhile, in the background, 3 wide. You saw Bobby McGuire in the middle there in that number 3 machine. You had Terry Walker way up on the outside, and he's still up there now with Quentin Moore trapped in the middle. And Skylar Taylor down there on the bottom side. So good amount of 3 wide racing early in the going here at the Nashville Super Speedway, and looks like they're going to settle this back down to double file action further up at the front. But we take a look a little bit further back. Reagan Whitlock was in the middle. Now it's Nia Steidel trapped in the middle of that 3 wide situation. And Steidel's starting to fall back maybe just a little bit. She's currently scored in that 26th position. Wyatt Walker, after starting 33rd, he's already made his way up to the 27th spot. So picked up 6 positions since the drop of the green flag. And, well, we talked about Russell Blaze, and unfortunately the speed not being on his side in qualifying. He started 29th in this event, and coming across the stripe this time, he finds himself, well, now 23rd. He lost 1 spot. I mean, he gained 7 positions since the drop of the green flag, and within the first 4 laps, he got up as high as 2nd, but looks like he's going to tuck back in that 3rd position in front of Reagan Whitlock, and also right behind him is the previous winner, Stephen Colon. He wound up getting his 2nd win on the season, and alongside, basically behind him, is the other 2-time winner here this year, that being Nia Steidel. Remember, she wound up winning at Martinsville and as well as Nazareth, back-to-back races. She made a ton of history earlier this season. Became the first female driver to go to victory lane in 2 races in a row, by the way. So, and the first ever WRLA driver of ever to go back-to-back in the Pepsi Cup Series. So she made a load of history. She made a load of history earlier this year. And that, by God, is very impressive. Up at the front of the field, it's all gotten single file to kick off this race, at least within the first 15th of the session. It is Nathan Stapleton who leads the charge. Noah Clifton shown in that 2nd position. Then it's Abby Walker in 3rd. Sebastian Vaughn in the 4th position. And then completing the top 5, that is Travis Crampton, number 61. Zachary Taylor in the 6th position. Bruno Diacomo in 7th. Ajax Fitzgerald in 8th. Then running in 9th, that's Claire Phillips in the number 5. And Aaron Abel rounds out your top 10. So working lap number 10 as of right now, looks like a vast majority of this field has worked themselves into a single file train. And booyaka, booyaka, if you see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's Nia Steidel in the number 6, and behind her, excuse me. I do apologize for getting my genders mixed up, but that's Wyatt Walker in the 19. So if you put the 6 and the 19 together, you get 619, a little bit of a Rey Mysterio reference right there, if you know what I'm saying. But there's Steidel. This is actually this very scheme that she got her first ever Pepsi Cup Series win with at Martinsville earlier this year. And she's definitely been a very star-studded driver for EGI. I mean, I think probably the most, I mean, other than Emily Anderson, I would definitely say probably the most star-studded driver that EGI has ever had. The 2 stars, pretty much, I'd say Steidl and Emily Anderson. Those 2 drivers have definitely been the class of EGI, if I may say. Of course, Emily Anderson won earlier this year at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in a very wild and very, very strange night at North Wilkesboro back in May. And of course, you know, may not be the exact way that you want to go and get your first win on the season, but for Emily Anderson, a win is a win, and you're going to take it no matter how you can get it. And the most ironic thing about Emily Anderson is that all 3 of her Pepsi Cup Series wins actually came with the Mountain Dew sponsorship. She never got a win so far with the Haas Automation. With Haas Automation as her primary sponsor. So maybe today could be the day where Emily Anderson could get her 4th Pepsi Cup Series win. And on top of that, you know, get it with the Haas Automation colors. If she does this, by the way, she will become the all-time winningest driver in WRLA history. Remember, she is currently tied with Emmanuel Hartnett, who has 3 wins in WRLA. Remember, Hartnett back in 2017 won at Fontana and at Watkins Glen, and then 6 years later managed to pass Haley Curris with a handful of laps to go at Rockingham to win over there. So things are, I mean, of course, the stakes couldn't get any higher for Emily Anderson. I mean, especially when it comes to history making. And EGI so far this year has definitely made a lot of history with Nia Steidl. So a little bit more history could be made here with Emily Anderson, maybe here today, but right now she's got a little bit of a work cut out for her as she's sitting in that 13th position with just a 10th of the way through this event. So far, the top 5, I may also add on here, they're all pretty much nose to tail. I mean, especially when you look at the NS Racing cars, because they have been, of course, they've been dominant, you know, since the get-go of this event. Remember, they started on the front row. Nathan Stapleton got out front with the race lead, and Noah Clifton just tucked right in there in that 2nd position. Currently sitting 1-2, and nobody has really made any sort of effort to get around both of the NS Racing cars. Nobody's been able to challenge. I mean, nobody's really made the move to challenge as of right now, because just remember, it is still very early in this race. Everybody's just trying to mind their own P's and Q's in this green flag rhythm. Excuse me. So maybe they're just waiting until they get to the first round of green flag pit stops, which, if I'm correct, should be right around, maybe, I want to say lap 40, maybe lap 50, but we're just going to find out here as we progress on into this event. I will definitely say this is honestly a really good run here for Sebastian Vaughn, as we highlighted it during qualifying earlier this morning. Sebastian Vaughn comes into this race near the very bottom of the points bracket. As we reviewed, he is, I believe, 3rd to last in the point standings, and obviously with a really good starting position and currently running very well in this race early in the going. I mean, so far it's showing pretty good promise that he could either be a factor to win this race, either that or get himself a really good finish to kind of dig himself out of this very deep hole that unfortunately he's made for himself. And obviously for a lot of these drivers, I mean, when you even look at it, there's a good amount of drivers here that are very, very deep in the point standings, like Nathan Stapleton, Noah Clifton, Sebastian Vaughn, for instance, even Bruno Diacomo, Claire Phillips, Aaron Abel, that are up here performing up inside of this top 10. Of course, Stapleton still leading the charge. He obviously led the first lap of the event. That gave him that bonus point towards leading a lap here in this event, in this race. But you even look at Noah Clifton. He's had himself an up and down sort of season so far, and obviously still trying to search for his first win on the season. He currently has 2 wins to his name. Of course, once at Rockingham in 2020, and then his first win with NS Racing came at Bristol, on the dirt at Bristol in 2023. So that was his second Pepsi Cup Series win, trying to go for his third here today. But definitely wouldn't, I don't think he would mind too much playing second fiddle to Nathan Stapleton, whom again has just had himself a very abysmal kind of season. And this is exactly the run that he needs. I mean, just leading the charge and hoping and praying that he's able to close out here with a win. I mean, that's something that Stapleton would absolutely love to get. Another driver that I really wanted to highlight in this event, I mean, especially while we still can do it, I mean, it's Bruno Giacomo here in this 95. I mean, Giacomo is another driver that didn't really start off the season too hot, especially with Appalachia Motorsports. They haven't really gotten off to a hot start overall with both of their cars, with Giacomo and Caleb Rose, who is the owner-driver of this team, and they really just haven't hit their stride. I mean, and especially once we get a look, as we got later on in the season up to this point, I mean, Caleb Rose has climbed from dead last up to 16th in the point standings. Giacomo, well, he's not outside of the top 30 anymore, but he is in a better position than what he was earlier in the season. He's, I believe, 27th in points from last we checked, but so far in this race, doing a very nice job running in that 7th position. So very good run here for Bruno Giacomo in this 95. Claire Phillips is another driver who I wanted to highlight. Phillips started off the season as the points leader, and for the better part of the season, she's kind of been running right around mid-pack. She's had some runs where, you know, she's gotten some top 5s and top 10 finishes, and some not so much. So unfortunately, some of the runs right around mid-pack, some of the finishes that she's received right around mid-pack have really anchored her all the way down to 33rd in the point standings. And right now, a 9th place run here for the Sirius XM team. So far, looking pretty stout in this number 5. Aaron Abel, another driver that is running really well here in this event. Of course, comes into this race dead last in the point standing. So a very good run for him is 1 billion% what he needs as of right now. His teammate Skylar Taylor won at Las Vegas earlier this year, and you definitely have to imagine, of course, Aaron Abel feeling a little bit outshined by his teammate, and obviously the guy that he hired to drive one of his cars. So, of course, Aaron Abel definitely capitalizing on a very good run so far to open up this race. 28 laps in the books, and so far currently sitting here inside of the top 10. Here's Alex Bonsignor in the 22. Another driver who, yet again, is having himself a really good run. But the only concern that I have for Bonsignor is that something could happen later on in the going where it would ultimately just eliminate him, like full on eliminate him from a top 5 or top 10 finishing position, or even a win for that matter. It's happened before where Bonsignor, he would run really well, sometimes a top 5 or a top 10, and then something would happen in the race, whether it be some mechanical issue or even a bad pit stop that would set him all the way back towards the rear end of the field. So it would be rather unfortunate if that dry spell continued, but for Alex Bonsignor, he hasn't won since 2017, the inaugural season of WRLA Pepsi Cup competition at Talladega. So it's been 8 years since Bonsignor has gone to victory lane in a WRLA sanctioned race. So I would really love to see Alex Bonsignor go to victory lane here tonight at the Nashville Super Speedway. Another driver that we should definitely highlight here, that's Bobby McGuire in this number 3. He is running part-time throughout this season, but he did make this race. And of course, I mean, he wasn't able to make Sonoma a few weeks back, but He is here for this event. Janaya is also in this race too, and currently she's running in the 35th position after starting, I want to say 39th, but as for our 37th, I should say, actually, here we go. Speaking of, I was talking about pit stops a little bit ago. Well, they're just getting started. Looks like Alexander Rowe was amongst the first to come on down to pit road, and there's a huge pack of cars that are coming on in. Walker, Crown, Blaze, there's Andrew Miller, Jordan Sumner is in, there's Nia Steidel. Looks like this might be 4 tires and fuel. Let's see what happens here. 4 tires and fuel for all these drivers. And oh, McGuire a little bit slow on that stop, but he is down and away. Looks like he might file in here behind Skylar Taylor as the rest of the other leaders are in now. Sebastian Vaughn is in. Zachary Taylor, Caleb Rose, or Bruno Giacomo, Alex Bonsignor, and others. They're all in as of right now. And here comes race leader Nathan Stapleton in. Looks like Noah Clifton wound up coming in just about a lap before. But yeah, this should complete our first round of green flag pit stops. Shania Hill is in. Same for Martin Nixon. Ryan Little as well. So currently, I'm not 100% sure who would be the race leader as of, well, we'll have to wait and see once pit stops fully cycle back around. But going back to Bobby McGuire, this is his first race in a few weeks. He didn't make Sonoma a few weeks back, but Janiyah Hill did, however. So McGuire Motorsports did get to race in some capacity. But coming into this event, of course, McGuire started 19th and made his way up to 15th up until this round of green flag pit stops came around. But besides that, McGuire Motorsports is looking to go full-time next year. They have made that announcement that they will go full-time next year in 2026. So definitely, of course, gathering up all the resources that they need and all the notes that they need in order to get ready for the upcoming season. So we'll have to wait and see what exactly happens. But as for this race, was running pretty well, right inside the 15th position. But after that pit stop, that might set him back just a little bit. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe our new race leader very just well may be Noah Clifton here in this number 99. And that indeed is the case. Clifton takes over the race lead from his boss and teammate, Nathan Stapleton, who falls back to 5th, but the rest of your top 10 running order goes as follows. Ajax Fitzgerald running in the 2nd spot. Sebastian Vaughn moves up to 3rd. Claire Phillips up to 4th. Then again, as we highlighted, Nathan Stapleton gets kicked back to the 5th position. Abby Walker in the 6th spot. Then in 7th, Zachary Taylor. Braden Perez in car 88 currently finds himself in position number 8. Aaron Abel in 9th, and Terry Walker rounds out the top 10. Remember earlier this year, or last year I should say, when the NRLA McDonald's Cup Series ran here, it was Terry Walker that went to victory lane for his first McDonald's Cup Series win, and ironically enough, it was in the number 48, but it was not for Walker Family Motorsports. It was for Hendrick Motorsports when we ran the 2014 Sprint Cup Series car set for the NRLA McDonald's Cup Series. But obviously now with custom paint schemes and custom teams, Walker Family Motorsports could see a little bit more success here today. I mean, they went to victory lane with Abby Walker earlier this year at Iowa. So it is very well a possibility that we could see Terry Walker go to victory lane here for overall, really, the 2nd year in a row here at Nashville and the first for his Pepsi Cup Series career in the WRLA. It's very, very possible that we could see that. Well, the game of follow the leader picks up yet again as everybody finds himself into a little single file train. But as of right now, highlighting another driver that we might as well highlight him. And here's Wyatt Walker in the 19. He started 33rd in this race, and after 40 laps, and especially that first round of green flag pit stops that kicked off on lap 32, right around lap 32 or 31, because we saw Alexander Rowe come in as the first driver who came on down pit road or was already in the pits, I should mention. Rowe was the first driver that was already in the pits. But anyways, focusing back on in, Wyatt Walker went from 33rd up to 21st within the span of the last 41 laps, and bad pit stop for Bruno Giacomo, and that's a shame. He was 7th before that last round of green flag pit stops, for that first round, I should say. And now he finds himself 22nd on the racetrack. So a little bit of a tough break here for Bruno Giacomo, but who knows? We could very well see him maybe hit a little bit of better luck here on this next pit stop. We never quite know. Travis Crampton here in this number 61 was just outside of the top 5 before that first round of pit stops came about. And he currently finds himself in the 17th position as of right now. This is actually kind of impressive to me of how we've gone this long and there haven't really been a whole lot of passes made. I mean, everybody has just kind of been they've kind of just been taking care of their stuff. They really haven't made any sort of efforts to pass one another, or let alone, try to go for obviously go for position. But so far, everybody's just kind of been minding their own business and kind of just taking care of their stuff and kind of just sitting exactly where they are as of right now, just trying to make it to the next round of green flag pit stops, which looks to be every 31 to, I want to say 34 laps. So we could very well see these drivers come on in right around lap 62 to kick off the second round of green flag pit stops. And who knows, the pit strategy for some of these drivers may be just a little bit more strung out than what we saw in the first round of green flag pit stops. You never quite know. Here's Roberto Crown Jr. There's number 21, currently running what looks to be in the 32nd position, just behind his teammate Eric Monaco, who's been having himself a really good run as of late here for this season. Crown wound up winning at Michigan under caution to nab his first Pepsi Cup Series win, not just for himself, but also for his own team of Powerhouse Crown Racing. And he finds himself right around top 5, top 10 in the point standings currently. But probably might find himself in a little bit of a deeper hole if he's not able to get himself out of the top 30. Well, get above the top 30, if you will, so far in the running order of this race. I mean, maybe another pit stop. We could probably see him catapult from just outside the top 30 to maybe inside of the top 20. I could definitely say the same thing here for Eric Monaco in this number 31. Because remember, Monaco, he found himself, well, currently sits 8th in the point standings as of right now. That's just based off of pure consistency alone. So Monaco's been finding himself a really good stride here so far in the season, but as of today, currently finds himself 31st in car number 31. However, one of the other Powerhouse Crown Racing cars is actually having himself a pretty solid day, that being Val Mosco in this 33, the third car for Powerhouse Crown Racing. And currently for Val Mosco, actually he's the driver that finds himself 33rd in the point standings, ironically enough. So in car number 33, I believe Phillips is 32nd in points last time we checked, but Mosco currently having himself a pretty solid run here tonight. And if I may say, I mean, you know, this could be the sign that maybe even Val Moscow could turn his luck around. I mean, he's the only other Powerhouse Crown Racing car that hasn't really been able to match the par hasn't really been able to match the speed of Roberto Crown Jr. or even Eric Monaco. So this is obviously a very good opportunity for Val Moscow to really capitalize on a pretty good run and obviously take full advantage of what's in front of you. I mean, as of right now, he's got Bobby McGuire in the 3 in front of him. So, I mean, maybe start by trying to see if you can work your way around him. But it doesn't look like, again, it doesn't look like anybody's really going to try to take that risk because everybody's kind of just more focused on, you know, just minding their own P's and Q's and just taking care of their stuff. They're really not in any sort of hurry to get to the front or try to make passes to try to nab as many positions as they possibly can. So I think everybody's just trying to buy their time. And how about this? For Russell Blaze in this number 69, remember he started 29th in this race, and after that first round of green flag pit stops, he finds himself 12th on the running order. How about that? So a very good pit stop that put this number 69 just inside of the top 20, currently outside looking in when you got Val Moscow, or not Val Moscow, Alex Bonsinger in front of him, who's currently knocking on the door of the top 10. He's got Terry Walker in front of him, so maybe we could see a pass for a 10th position take place here very, very soon. I mean, I don't know. We might have to wait till the second round of green flag pit stops, which should be taking place within these next, I want to say 7 laps coming up here. So far, Noah Clifton still leading the charge in this number 99. I mean, as of right now, he's got to lead this section of the event until somebody else comes along and takes the race lead away from the pit. I mean, at least from the pits. Who knows? I mean, that could very well happen. Maybe we could see Ajax Fitzgerald take the lead. Maybe we could even see Sebastian Vaughn nab that number 1 spot after the second round of green flag pit stops. I mean, so far, I mean, when it comes down to grabbing positions, everybody's been able to do it from the pit area, at least trying to get the best possible pit stops in order to move your way up through the running order. Nathan Stapleton, unfortunately, was not even able to capitalize on that, but he's still running inside of the top 5 nonetheless. I mean, he's having himself a really good run, regardless if he's leading or just outside of, or just on the verge of, you know, moving up into the 4th position, as he's pretty much occupying the entire mirror of Claire Phillips's car, or at least the entire rear view mirror of Claire Phillips. That's all that she sees in her rear view mirror, as she currently runs in that 4th position. Checking on in here, there's Janiah Hill in the number 7, and unfortunately not having herself a good run here so far. She was as high as 33rd or 29th, if I remember, but unfortunately she finds herself dead last after that first round of green flag pit stops, trailing right behind Martin Nixon in the number 2. So as we near the second round of green flag pit stops, it should be very interesting to see how the strategies are going to vary, because as we get later on into the event, we're going to start seeing more drivers kind of, some more strategies kind of seem to be a little bit more split, if you will. We're going to have to also keep our eyes here on Alexander Rowe, because he was the first car in the pits just as soon as we saw that huge first wad of cars come on down, that saw Bobby McGuire come on down, or even a few others as well. I can't really name all of them off the top of my head, but it is very much so a possibility that we could very well see Alexander Rowe make his way down the pit road, maybe this time around or the next time. We're just going to have to wait, watch, and see what happens. But Rowe is another driver that could also use a pretty good run here in the points. Right now, Rowe finds himself 26th on the running order as of right now. So right around this particular point, the pit window should be open and all these other drivers should be kind of thinking about what kind of strategies they should be taking. And Alexander Rowe is actually going to stay out. So Rowe stays out here for lap number 62. Well, on lap 62 with 62 laps complete. So we're just going to have to wait and see who's going to be the first driver to make the move on down into the pit area. If it's not Alexander Rowe. So far, they're kind of stretching it out a little bit further than what they did in the first round of before the first round of green flag pit stops. Remember, it was Alexander Rowe who made his first pit stop right around lap 31, 32. He was the first driver in the pit area. So completing 64 laps this time. So far, no takers. So far, none whatsoever. So chances are they're definitely going to stretch this out as far as they can possibly go. I'd probably think they might come in right around lap 66. Maybe lap 67. We're just going to have to find out. But you can definitely tell that the times are starting to fall off a little bit, because you just saw through 3 and 4 the sparks kind of kick up here especially for even our race leader Noah Clifton. Some of these drivers had to back up the corner just a little bit more because the tires are starting to wear on these race machines, so they're due for a pit stop at any given point. And that point is now. Wayne Lopez, Caleb Rose, they were the first to make the move into the pit area. But now Braden Perez, Terry Walker, even Russell Blaze are in. Skylar Taylor, Bobby McGuire, Val Mosco, Walker, Diacomo, excuse me. Quentin Moore, CG Holt, Miller, Ramsey, they're all in. And here comes the leader. Noah Clifton is in. Nathan Stapleton is going to stay out along with Abby Walker and Zachary Fitzwater. Parton makes the move in. So does Rogel Dorn, Jerry Rose, Nixon, Janiah Hill. They're all in. Stephen Colon, I believe, was amongst some of those drivers that I believe he already made a stop. I don't recall seeing Alexander Rowe joined them. He might have, and I might have just missed it. But we're about to find out here. As the field makes their way through turn 4. Yeah, I believe... I do believe Alexander Rowe might have already made a stop. Stapleton is in, as he's going to make his pit stop. Same goes for Abby Walker and Zachary Fitzwater. They're going to make their second round of green flag pit stops. So it is a very good possibility that the race lead may change hands back over to Noah Clifton, but we're just going to have to find out. Look at this. Wyatt Walker's going to make a move 3 wide. Doesn't quite work out here. At least not yet. Going to stay fully committed to the inside. That may not be the best. That may not be the best move, as he's not going to be trapped on the bottom. And that top line, as we talked about at the beginning of the race, might just be the way to go. As the field cycles around to complete lap 69. Nice. Noah Clifton looks like is going to reassume the race lead, as we're going to keep an eye here on this battle. What looks to be for the 20th position. Wayne Lopez is going to easily retain that. Or Wayne Lopez is going to move up to 19th, and it looks like Kyle Craven is going to try to get around Wyatt Walker on the outside. This would be for the 20th position. And Craven already has that. Emily Anderson and Nia Steidel fighting it out for position, but Steidel finds herself on the bottom. That's not, obviously, as we mentioned, that's not the place to be, as that outside line gets a really strong corner exit. Anderson looking for any way around this number 19 of Wyatt Walker, so far not able to capitalize on that opportunity, as Seidel is going to get passed by Tanner Parton. That's going to kick her back to the 24th position. A little bit more battles ensuing here. Trouble for Claire Phillips on her pit stop as she gets kicked from 4th all the way back to 27th, and is going to lose that spot to Quentin Moore, as Moore is going to find himself in the best seat in the house and try to get around this number 5 of Claire Phillips around the outside down the front straightaway. Especially right around turn 2. Turn 2 seems to be the best place to go when it comes down to, of course, trying to capitalize on a really good run. And that time around, it was Phillips who had the advantage and was able to clear up in front of Quentin Moore, as Jordan Sumner, Roberto Crown Jr. fighting it out for position. Now it's Rogel Dorn and Jordan Sumner, as it looks like the bottom just may be coming to life. Maybe not. So now, as this second round of green flag pit stops are officially completed, here's a look at what your top 10 looks like now, as we're closing in on the halfway mark of the Ally 400 here at the Nashville Super Speedway, race number 13 on the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series points calendar. It is Noah Clifton who reassumes the top position, followed by Ajax Fitzgerald running in the second position. Braden Perez moves himself up to 3rd. Terry Walker up to 4th. And Russell Blaze rounding out your top 5, followed by Abby Walker in 6th. Stephen Colon 7th. Nathan Stapleton drops back to 8th. Sebastian Vaughn drops back to 9th. And Bobby McGuire finds himself in the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Zachary Fitzwater not too far behind in that number 85, currently shown in that 11th position. Taylor is another driver that has been slowly and methodically moving his way up the running order, along with drivers like McGuire and also Russell Blaze and Braden Perez and Terry Walker, just to name a few. Even Abby Walker in the number 18, who's just been casually and consistently just riding around here inside of the top 5, top 10 area for most of the night. So she might find herself in a very good spot to maybe get her second win on the Pepsi Cup Series season. But so far, she's kind of just minding her own business right here in this 6th spot, while looks like Walker and Blaze might find themselves in a fight for 4th. But we shall see. But so far, 4th and 5th are in a little zip code of their own. Braden Perez just trying to hang around the front 2, who are currently just riding it out here as we come around to complete lap 78 of 150 here at Nashville. Pretty shocking to me of how we've gone this long without a yellow flag. And obviously, as this race gets a little bit closer and closer to the finish, and as pit strategies, of course, are going to get a little bit more diverse, if you will, there is a higher risk of some drivers making last-minute decisions to come to pit road, and others, well, maybe not so much. So we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled open for when that becomes a possibility, or even if that becomes a possibility, because all these other cars, they've done an absolutely fantastic job of just, you know, of course, just riding as of right now. They're just riding. They're not even in any ounce of hurry to try to get up to the front or even just make passes, because a lot of that passing that we just witnessed a little bit ago, moments ago, that was all to try to gain more track position for some of these drivers. So, and some of them might have already accomplished that mission. Janiah Hill, she's not running in 42nd anymore. She's now running in the 37th position, so gained 5 spots after her pit stop. A big trouble for Valkyrie Atikian in the number 23. Unfortunately, finds herself dead last. Our winner from Coda, not faring too well here in this event here tonight. There's Ryan Little in the 27. And this is actually going to be a huge blow for Ryan Little if he's not able to pick up the pace here and start gaining, and obviously start picking off all these other drivers, because he comes into this race, if memory serves me right, 3rd in the point standings. 3rd, you heard that correctly. So to see him back here in this 41st position is definitely going to be a no bueno for him. So I would definitely have to start strategizing on what to do here for this next round of green flag pit stops here very soon, once that 3rd round comes up. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes peeled open for that. Ooh, Stephen Colon getting a mirror full of Nathan Stapleton all the way down the front straightaway. Stapleton showing signs of speed and possibly might find himself try to see if he can get an opportunity to pass Stephen Colon here. I mean, he's all over the back bumper. He's been trailing the back bumper of this Chips Ahoy car pretty much the last couple of laps, and so far has not really made any sort of decision or effort to try to pass this 25. I mean, he's just been glued to the back bumper of Cologne's car. So as of right now, I would definitely say for Nathan Stapleton, he's got the speed. He just really needs to find the right opportunity, if you will, or either that, or just, if you're not able to find one, make one. They lost a few tenths on 6th place Abby Walker, at least a few tenths, as Abby's kind of just running in her own zip code as of right now, you know, kind of just riding behind Terry Walker and as well as Russell Blaze, and just ahead of Cologne and Stapleton, just in a world of her own, if you will. Not really too concerned. I mean, she's just running in the top 10 as of right now, so I'd say so far for this run, it's definitely been pretty good here for Abby Walker in this number 18 machine. And I will say, and we are just past the halfway point, of course, but I do want to mention, before things get a little bit more chaotic up at the front of the field, I mean, running order wise, that as far as I'm concerned for this season, I only see 2 drivers. 2 drivers that have won this year that could very well get their 2nd or even 3rd wins on the season. That being Abby Walker and Stephen Colon. They're right now 6th and 7th on the leaderboard. As of right now, everybody else still trying to search for their first wins, not just of their careers, but also on the season. Clifton trying to go for his 3rd win on the year. We're trying to go for his 3rd win of his career, if I want to clarify that, by the way. First on the season, that is. Same for Perez and Terry Walker, Russell Blaze, Stapleton, Vaughn, McGuire. They're all trying to go for their first wins, not just of their careers, but also for some on the season. But we still got a good amount of racing to go. 60 laps of racing left here at the Nashville Superspeedway, or maybe pacing, if you will, when if you don't take pit stops into account. How about Skylar Taylor, this number 41? We haven't really said anything about Skylar Taylor, and here they are, running inside of the 12th position. Remember, they won in Vegas earlier this year in a very thrilling final couple of laps over there. Reagan Whitlock still trying to search for her first Pepsi Cup Series win. She has not won at all in WRLA competition. Not even at all. Not even in the first year that she ran in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series back in 2017. It's the inaugural season. So for Reagan Whitlock to run in 2017, absent in 2020, comes back in 2023, has stuck around ever since then with Cologne Motorsports. It is, it's gonna get pretty interesting. I mean, right now, Whitlock runs in the 13th position as of right now, very solidly in that 13th position. So as of right now, things are looking pretty good for Reagan Whitlock as of right, at this particular moment. Still patiently waiting here for Nathan Stapleton to possibly make a move here on Stephen Cologne to move up to the 7th position. So far, there really hasn't been any sort of effort made to at least try to get this passed on or even get it started. But as of right now, there's not really a whole lot of noise being made. Everybody's just kind of minding again. They're all just kind of running single file as of right now in this big old woot woot train. A pit stop should be coming up here in just a few short minutes. I wouldn't say a few short minutes. It could happen right around lap 100, given of how far a lot of these drivers went on the set of tires and the tank of fuel that they were running on. So it should be very interesting as to how far they're going to stretch this run out to, and who might be the first to come on in, and how much further some of these drivers are going to stretch this out to. Gonna switch over to the spectator cam. See if there's gonna be any drivers making the move to come on down to pit road. We're working lap 96, coming to start 97. So far, still no takers. Still no takers that possibly might make their third trip on down to pit road early. I still wouldn't want to count them out here just yet. So, I mean, obviously it's only a matter of time at this rate, but it's honestly very impressive to me of how far they were able to stretch it out the last run, and looks like that's what they're doing for this run, just kind of seeing how much further they can go on the tank of gas and the set of tires that they're running on as of right now, because they know that things are going to get pretty interesting. And speaking of, they are, as Nathan Stapleton finally makes the move to the inside of Stephen Cologne. Unfortunately, not able to make the pass work down on the bottom. He's going to tuck right back in on that 8th position, and here we go. Looks like that's Skylar Taylor coming on down. Same for Alexander Rowe, Caleb Rose, Steidel, and Jordan Sumner, the first drivers to peel off and come to pit road to begin our third round of green flag pit stops. Clifton, the top 5, they all stay out. Stephen Cologne pits from the 7th position, followed by Sebastian Vaughn and Bobby Maguire, Reagan Whitlock. They all make the move down to pit road, followed by Moscow, Lopez, Anderson, Diacomo, Marsh, Nixon, Holt, Dorn, Little, and Atikian. Ajax Fitzgerald's going to stay out as race leader Noah Clifton pits. Abby Walker's also going to stay out. And those should be the last 2 cars to make their pit stops. I think Stapleton is another driver that is yet to come on in. As both Zachary's pit. Same for Wyatt Walker and Alex Bonsignor, Travis Crampton, Phillips, Crown, Moore, Hill, and others. Fitzgerald's going to surrender the lead and come to pit road. Abby Walker stays out. Nathan Stapleton's going to pit from the 3rd position as Abby Walker's going to assume the race lead on lap 102. And to my recollection, Abby Walker should be the last car to make her pit stop to finish up our 3rd round of green flag pit stops. And Walker staying out for another lap. Very interesting strategy here for the Abby Walker, for this Walker Family Motorsports entry of Abby Walker. As she just pretty much lapped all but 4 cars. Fitzgerald, Stapleton, Aaron Abel, and Andrew Ramsey. But I would have to imagine this number 18 is going to pit this time by, in which she does. Abby Walker is going to surrender the lead. And after all that, your new race leader, if scoring is correct, is going to be the 88 of Braden Perez. That very well, it might be the case right here. We're just going to have to wait and see. I'm fairly certain that's going to be the case, because Abby Walker did cross the start-finish line as the race leader, just as Perez was just assuming the lead on the track. And coming across the line this time by Braden Perez is going to be, actually, wait just a minute. Abby Walker, I believe she still scored as the race leader, but she's just now coming out right now in the number 18. So now officially that will mean that Braden Perez, 3rd time's the charm saying this, by the way, will be your new race leader, followed by Russell Blaze in the 2nd position. Then in 3rd will be the 99 of Noah Clifton. Russell Blaze Terry Walker sitting in 4th. Stephen Colon rounds out your top 5. Fight for 6th is on between Ajax Fitzgerald and the 41 of Skylar Taylor. Right now, Taylor being shown in that 6th position, then scored 7th is Ajax Fitzgerald. Bobby McGuire currently listed in 8th. Vaughn in 9th, and Reagan Whitlock rounds out your top 10. As these two are still fighting it out side by side. Now Fitzgerald's going to take over that 7th or that 6th spot from Skylar Taylor. That outside line definitely proving to be a huge benefactor for the 92, and Fitzgerald going to take over that 6th spot. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, it was about 0.2 of a second between Blaze and as well as the 88 of Braden Perez. Perez still also trying to search for his first Pepsi Cup Series win of his career after running in his first season in 2023 for this team, Cologne Motorsports. Basically the same team, same sponsors, but different numbers, of course. But Perez still trying to look for his first win of his career. Same goes for Russell Blaze in the 69. Noah Clifton trying to search for his first win of the year, and his 3rd of his career. 108 laps complete. Coming to 40 laps to go and just a couple of laps time. And things are definitely going to get pretty interesting once we get down to the final round of green flag pit stops. It's still very shocking to me of how we've gone this long without a yellow as well. We've had some passing here and there, but yet everybody's just kind of been minding their own P's and Q's. They really have not made a lot of moves. But they've definitely kept it all together, and no drivers win a lap down. No drivers at all win a lap down, if I may say it. Little bit of trouble on the pit stops for Abby Walker and as well as Nathan Stapleton. They dropped just outside of the top 10 for Nathan Stapleton. This is kind of a small blow for him as he went from leading the race to falling back to the 5th and then to 7th, then now to 14th. So he's been slowly dropping throughout this event, but hopefully this final round of green flag pit stops coming up soon. He'll be able to turn all of that around. Hopefully, fingers crossed on that. Great run also for Alexander Rowe in this number 34 machine. Remember the last time we checked in with him, he was running in the 26th position. Coming around to start lap 113, he finds himself 11th right now. Just outside of the top 10. Got Reagan Whitlock just ahead of him. Sebastian Vaughn's been able to consistently hang around the top 10 all race long. But with the way some drivers have been falling back via pit stops, it's going to be hard to tell if Sebastian Vaughn's going to be able to finish inside of the top 10 by the time this is all said and done. But it should be pretty interesting to see how this all shakes up. Right now, it's a 3-car breakaway for the top 3 positions. First, second, and third are in the zip code of their own. Then Terry Walker and as well as the 25, Stephen Colon, right now running just in their own little world, nose to tail as of right now. And then Ajax Fitzgerald running in the 6th position all by his lonesome. Still pretty shocking to me of how there really hasn't been a lot of racing going on. So I'd say one of the more underwhelming races, if you will, here for the WRLA Pepsi Cup racing here at the Nashville Superspeedway. I'd say very underwhelming. But the pit strategies have definitely been probably the most interesting part of this whole race, if I may say. And as we near the final round of green flag pit stops, it's only gonna get a little bit more interesting to see who's gonna come out with the race lead. And if that's the case, if whoever comes out with the lead on this final round of green flag pit stops will definitely more than likely have this win in the bag. It could be any of these drivers up here at the front. Braden Perez, definitely a huge shocker as he came out of absolutely nowhere to take over this race lead. And this is actually the first time that a manufacturer other than a Ford has led today. First laps that a Chevrolet has led today, if I'm not mistaken. Toyota's led a little bit, obviously, with Abby Walker staying out and kind of just extending her run on, her fuel run. So things are getting pretty intense here, pit strategy wise, as we are nearing 30 laps of racing to go here at the Nashville Superspeedway. Again, just for those tuning in, we've been caution-free all race long since the drop of the green flag, and we've had a series of different leaders, and the pit strategies have definitely been the most interesting part of the event. Other than that, the racing has just been super underwhelming, if you will. Everybody's just kind of been minding their own P's and Q's. There really haven't been a lot of passes made other than maybe towards the tail end of a green flag run, or maybe at the beginning of a green flag run. But everybody's just been riding nose to tail, all single file, and not really making a lot of moves. 30 to go. Perez still leads the charge. Fitzgerald has caught both Terry Walker and as well as the 25 of Stephen Colon. But no effort to make a move for the 5th position. So Fitzgerald's going to stay pretty snug on the back bumper of the 25, or at least snug in the tire tracks of Stephen Colon. With 121 laps complete. If anything, I'd be very interested to see how long these drivers are going to stretch this run out to, because chances are they could stretch this out to probably about lap 135, maybe lap 140. Make things a little interesting towards the tail end of this one as far as pit strategies go. So it should make for a very interesting finish to this one here at Nashville. We're going to take a look further in the back half of the field. There's Claire Phillips in the 5. Remember, she started up inside of the top 5. That's where she ran for the first half of the event, and now she's found herself all the way back to 31st position. Bruno Diacomo, a tough break for him as well. Started in the 7th spot, and since then just got relegated all the way back to the 30th position. So tough break for Diacomo as well. And Russell Blaze's teammates, I'd definitely say, are also back here as well, which is rather unfortunate for Rogel Dorn, Quentin Moore. They're finding themselves back here after not the best of pit stops. You also got Travis Crampton, who started, I believe, 7th in this race, and he now finds himself in the 27th position. Got Wyatt Walker back here as well. Same for Caleb Rose, Emily Anderson as well in the 24th position. And Alex Bonsignor, another driver who is unfortunate. I mean, that's what I was worried about. I talked about it earlier in the event, where he's had himself some good runs, and I mean, where he would run really well, maybe right around top 10-ish, if you will. And then whether it be a bad pit stop or some mechanical issue that would come up for this 22, it would relegate them back quite a ways. And as for Bonsignor, that definitely relegated him back to the 22nd position here in car number 22. So it's rather unfortunate to see, but hope and pray that he's able to regather it back up once we go to Indianapolis next week. That would be WRLA's first trip to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Be sure to join us next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right around the time of SummerSlam. We might run that rate. We might run Indianapolis on a Friday due to SummerSlam. So that should be fairly interesting. More news on that once we round up making the final decision, by the way. So as we're winding down to it, 22 laps to go here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Perez still leads the charge. And things are getting rather interesting when it comes down to, I mean, obviously, when it boils down to what pit strategies are going to look like for this final round of green flag pit stops. Is there anybody that's just going to take fuel only, or some drivers going to take 2 tires, or some drivers going to take 4? I mean, there's a lot of strategies up in the air as of right now. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's probably some drivers that are going to roll the dice and try to go as long as they possibly can and try to stretch out their run as far out as possible, just to see how much further they can make it on the tank of fuel or the set of tires that they're running on. I mean, it's all gonna be very interesting once we get to that point, because now at this rate, we might see some drivers peel off. I mean, I'd say maybe right around lap 133, 134-ish. Maybe right around this point, lap 131. I mean, it's very possible. So we're just going to have to keep our eyes open for that. And that's the case. Nia Stidle's the first one to peel off. She's going to come on down to pit road. Caleb Rose is going to follow as well in the number 59s. These are the first two cars to make their final pit stops of the night, with 19 laps to go, coming to 18 to go. Who else is going to make their stop? Skylar Taylor comes in along with McGuire, Sebastian Vaughn, even Alexander Rowe. Val Moscow comes in along with Kyle Craven, Zachary Taylor, Sumner, Anderson, Dorn, Diacomo, Nixon, and others. They're the next wave of cars to come on down into the pits. Clifton pits from the third position as race leader Braden Perez stays out. Whitlock and Stapleton, they're the next few cars to come on in, and very interesting right here as Abby Walker and also Zachary Fitzwater stay out. So Perez, I mean, let's see what his strategy is going to look like right here. And what will Russell Blaze do? He's going to pit with the 88. Terry Walker, Stephen Colon, and Fitzgerald, they all come on down to pit road. And Abby Walker is going to stay out as Zachary Fitzwater and Aaron Abel, they're going to join that group of cars that just came in. So now Abby Walker reassumes the top position, closing in on 15 laps to go, and I believe she's probably going to be the last one to make her pit stop. And she's not going to waste time here. She's already going to make her move down into the pit area. She did not want to roll the dice there. She wasted no time in surrendering the lead to make the move on down into the pit road. But now, as we're down to 15 laps remaining here in this Ally 400, I'm actually kind of curious as to who's going to be the race leader after all this. It might be Braden Perez still, with Russell Blaze all over the back bumper. And here we go. Challenge for the lead is on. Here comes Russell Blaze to the inside. He's down on the apron. Still double file going into turn one. This more than likely may be the fight for the win. Blaze edges ahead. Can he clear up in front of the 88? They're coming up with Abby Walker in tow. And Perez has to lift. New race leader. It's Russell Blaze in the 69. He jumps out with the race lead. Perez is going to fall back into second. Noah Clifton to third. Abby Walker's going to, now going to lose a couple more positions as Skylar Taylor and Stephen Colon go on by. So they'll be scored in fourth and fifth. Abby Walker will slide into the sixth position. Terry Walker in seventh. Reagan Whitlock eighth. Bobby McGuire ninth. And Alexander Rowe finds himself inside of the top 10. 13 laps of racing to go here in Nashville. Man, this would be absolutely huge for Russell Blaze if he's able to pull this one off. He has just had a load of momentum all season. A lot of speed behind the wheel of this number 69 as well. And there's been quite a few races where they coulda, woulda, shoulda found themselves in victory lane, but they just haven't found that last puzzle piece to put him in the winner's circle. And today could very well be the day if he's able to hold on here for these next 11 laps. That was a very clean pass for the race lead and what very well could be the win for Russell Blaze if he's able to hang on. 11 to go. And Abby Walker's going to lose a couple more positions as Bobby Maguire moves up to 8th. Alexander Rowe trying to get up to the 9th position as they head back into turn 1. Steidl to the inside. This is to try to break inside of the top 10. Not able to capitalize on the pass right there, so Steidl's going to have to wait it out and maybe try it again going into turn 1. Maybe not. Getting a little impatient there, and that's definitely going to pay off. Obviously that... Basically, Steidl saying, I'm not waiting, I'm just going to get right on by you, is definitely going to pay off. So move Steidl up inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Kyle Craven's going to follow. Same for Ajax Fitzgerald as Abby Walker continues to fall back in this 18. Brayden Perez has not been able to make any other challenge to try to get back around the 69 of Russell Blaze. Noah Clifton, same could be said for him when it comes to Perez. So right now, the 99 of Noah Clifton is just waiting in the wings just in case if anything happens. But it looks like to me that we might finish this race out caution-free. Coming to 7 laps to go here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Russell Blaze continuing to lead the charge, trying to get Durrani Racing's second win on the season. They got their first win with Quentin Moore back at Auto Club Speedway, and the guy that played second fiddle to that was this man right here, Russell Blaze. Here today, leading the charge, trying to get his first Pepsi Cup Series win, and honestly could have had at least maybe 2 or 3 races under his belt if they were able to just bring it back around full circle, if you will. So that way they can get that elusive win. That elusive win, if you will, just under their belt. But coming to 5 laps to go, it very well may happen right here. This would be pretty emotional, if you will, if Russell Blaze is able to pull this off. He and as well as Brayden Perez, they're starting to check out from Noah Clifton just a little bit. I wouldn't say a whole lot, maybe by a few thousandths here and there, but other than that, not really too much going on there. 4 to go. CG Holt working his way down the back straightaway as the race leaders make their way into turn 1. And this is actually this would actually be very good momentum to set the trajectory the rest of the year for Russell Blaze and this 69 team. Because after this year, of course, Blaze is going to be leaving Durrani Racing to form his own team of Death Rider Racing. More details on that will follow later on in the year, but as of right now, in present tense, this would be very huge for his Pepsi Cup Series career. In his first season, as well as Durrani Racing's first season, they've been the talk of the town when it comes to the Fords. They've kind of been the Team Penske of the WRLA, if you will, in 2025 when it comes down to speed. As I mentioned, they wound up getting their first win with Quentin Moore, who also, on top of that, got his first Pepsi Cup Series win after 8 years in the division. But now as they come around through turns 3 and 4, Russell Blaze is going to see the white flag fall here at Nashville. 1 lap to go in the Ally 400 for Russell Blaze. Perez still sticking 0.2 of a second behind Blaze as they work their way off a turn 2 and down the back straightaway one last time. For Russell Blaze, it's all going to finally come together. They work their way through turns 3 and 4. The heartbreak is over. Russell Blaze is finally a WRLA Pepsi Cup Series winner here in Nashville. Perez is going to come home in second. Noah Clifton will finish in third. In the 4th spot, it's going to be Skylar Taylor with Stephen Colon rounding out your top 5. Then it's Terry Walker finishing in 6th. Reagan Whitlock in 7th. Bobby McGuire 8th. Alexander Rowe finishing in the 9th spot. And rounding out your top 10 is Nia Steidel. How about that for her after starting, I believe, in the 28th position, at least deep in the field, and she gets a top 10 here tonight. Literally drove her way up to a top 10, and the pit strategies were definitely on her side for sure. And that will that will definitely give her a little bit more momentum in the point standings, as she might move up just outside of the top 10 after today. But what a drive for Russell Blaze. There's been multiple races where he should have had at least maybe 2 or 3 Pepsi Cup Series wins under his belt, but unfortunately, those unfortunately didn't come. But here tonight, it finally becomes a reality. Russell Blaze gets his first Pepsi Cup Series win. And how about that? All the other drivers, everybody finished on the lead lap, all the way down from first on down to 42nd. So it's been a very... This was a very, very underwhelming race. Not a lot of passes that were made here. Everybody just minded their own P's and Q's. And yeah, obviously the pit strategy was this. That's where mostly the race is won. I mean, either just in the pit area. I mean, that's where a lot of spots were gained and lost. Were on pit road. But by the end of it all, it was Russell Blaze who managed to capitalize on a fantastic pass within the final few laps to get his first Pepsi Cup Series win. Terry Walker, this is great momentum for him as he's going to retain the points lead and more than likely extend it out just a little bit over Kyle Craven. Blaze for sure is going to move up. I'm pretty sure he was top 10 in the point standings coming into this event. And if I actually were to go and look at the points, I'm fairly certain of that. Yeah, Blaze was 7th in the points, so he very well might find himself top 5, maybe up to runner-up in the points standings after today. So if you are watching the full race premiere over on YouTube, be sure to keep your eyes on the Discord, the WRLA Discord. Once this premiere concludes, you'll be able to see the full points from there. And as far as this goes, I mean, next week we'll be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the running of the Brickyard 400. So that action will go down probably more than likely on a Friday to accommodate for WWE SummerSlam on a Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it should be that should be a pretty fun race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 80 laps to distance over there, and that should be pretty fun. But that's going to do it for this action, for the Pepsi Cup Series action here at the Nashville Super Speedway. I want to thank you guys a lot for watching this race here at the Nashville Super Speedway. If you guys like this, if you're watching live on Twitch, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss a future stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you guys like this, be sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. That's pretty much going to do it for us. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you all next Friday night at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Have a good one, y'all.